guys, what is up? RedExions here and welcome back to this brand new video. And today we are at Mariembourg, aka Karting de Fagnes in Belgium, to train for the next BNL round, which is in 2 weeks already. It is raining a little bit. I am earlier than my mechanic. We have to wait for him because he was a little bit late. You guys have never seen this track on the channel before. That is because in the last 4 years I did not have a race here. If you guys don't know, I have a little bit of a mixed history with this track. I had a really big crash here and that's not too nice, and I also don't really like this track. So if you're unfamiliar with this track, it's another big international track. It's basically the Genk of the southern part of Belgium. And we have a track map right here. So this is where the start-finish straight is. Here you get up to speeds of like 120, 121 with Rotax. Then we have a very fast right-hander. Yeah, you go in there almost flat out. Then you go into a second smaller straight, into another hairpin which has 3 apexes, which you can very clearly see here. Then into a left-hand hairpin, which is one of the best overtaking spots of the track. Then into a really fast chicane. You brake a little bit here, go into the left one. Next corner is flat, and this corner is where I had my big accident. And it was the BNL in 2019. I had to start last, and the speed was pretty okay, so I could make up some positions on the first lap. Then on the second lap someone got a bad exit right here, so I pulled alongside him here, but he didn't see me, turned in, and we went that way, straight into the wall with like 100 kilometers an hour. Then we have another little spit of a straight, then a turning braking zone here, which is another brilliant overtaking spot. Then into the technical bit where you use a lot of curbs, very technical. That's another cheeky overtaking spot. If someone gets a bad exit here, you can launch it up the inside to that corner. Here we have another really tight spot in which you can't really overtake. Tight spot, then a downhill straight onto the last real corner of the track. This is also another overtaking spot if you're really close and have big balls. Then into these corners which are all flat onto the next lap. So yeah, the track itself is quite challenging, but I just never really felt the flow of it for some reason. But now we have to wait for another hour. But luckily I have my girlfriend with me. And actually in her last race here, in X30, she won it, so that's cool. So guys, welcome to Karting de Fagnes, aka Mariembourg, a track that we have not been at for a very long time. The last time I was here was at the BNL Karting series in 2019, which is way before I did YouTube actually. And I've never done this track in the wet before, and when you've never done a track in the wet before, you need to find out where the limits are. And the only way you can find where the limit is by going over it a little bit, which is what we did just then. And also in this braking zone, yeah, we go off and oops. Yeah guys, I'm literally going through the mud for you guys, as you can see. So if you think that's worth a like and a subscription, definitely do it, because yeah, I would do anything for you guys, even going through the mud like that. Yeah, normally when we're at a new track, I would showcase the track a little bit, but the camera is very dirty, as you can see. There's some mud on there, and usually when it's wet, the camera will get all muddy like this. The only way to prevent it getting muddy like this is by having it rain very hard or it be completely dry. Anything in between that, the track, I keep saying track instead of camera. The camera will get very dirty. So yeah, we came in here and waited for the next session, which is in the dry, luckily. So yeah, let's go on over a hot lap at Karting de Fagnes in Mariembourg, a really big international track. Now we go into the main straight through the last final corners, which are completely flat out, onto the main straight, going into turn 1, which is a very fast right-hand hairpin, in which you need to like brake very late, go on the power very late, then into another hairpin, which has 3 apexes, like I said in the other track showcase, 1, 2, 3, there we go. Then into a flowing left hairpin, which kind of gets introduced by a small kink on the straight. Then we go onto the middle part of the track, in which we get a very bumpy chicane. It's very bumpy on the way in, and also we take a little bit of curbs, so that's definitely not nice. Then into a flat out right-hander, which I had my huge crash. Now going into one of the best overtaking spots of the entire track. And the entire technical bit. Usually I'm quick in technical bits, and this was no exception. Here you can see a triple chicane with a very high curb on the right hand side there. Into another left chicane, left hand hairpin, right hand hairpin, which is a chicane, then into another flat out right hander. You pick up a lot of speed going downhill here. You brake for the last real corner of the track, take a lot of apex speed, go into the power very early, then through the last few corners, which are not really corners, they're just easily flat out, into the slipstream of the junior, pull alongside, and that's a lap of Mariembourg. Yeah, I actually really like the track layout now. Yeah, of course it just gets... whenever you have a big crash or a poor performance at the track, most drivers will then not like the track anymore. But actually looking at it from just a layout perspective and the area where we are located, we're in the southern part of Belgium, almost in France, very cool scenery. This track is actually quite cool, and it's also really challenging. As I said, it's quite bumpy at some points, which can make entry to some corners quite difficult. However, this part of the track is definitely my favorite part. Going into the technical bit, you can see me taking a little bit of a wide line because there's still some water on the apex. Then into this chicane. This is definitely my favorite corner of the track. Then taking a lot of curb on the right hand side. It is very important that the kart is nice and gentle over the curbs. You don't want to smash it on there because that will just create imbalance and make the kart very wobbly and jittery. You don't want that. You want to take it as calm as possible, which is usually the case with most corners in this karting class. You want to be as smooth as possible because every steering input you make is speed that you lose. Anyways guys, something else interesting is that K-Racing is back with a new discount code. K-Racing has been my sponsor for over a year now, and they are a webshop supplying all sorts of karting products. And this week we have a discount code RED25, which gives you 25% off on select Rotax, OTK and OMP products. Of course, Rotax are engine parts, OTK are parts for the chassis, and OMP are stuff like gloves, helmets, overalls, all sorts of that stuff. Karting is already expensive enough, so saving 25% on these products will massively help you in the long run. Also, if you're starting out karting, of course, it is very nice to get some cheap overalls, gloves, helmets for 25% off. So the discount only counts for select products, so you have to go through the webshop to kind of find them. Anyways, there will be more info in the description. So just go check it out, man. Info is in the description. Do it. Alright guys, first part of the day done already. The session in the wet was a little bit so-so, but then afterwards we went on slicks and yeah, the feeling was pretty good and I was decently quick, I think. Kart felt okay. Yeah, definitely not a bad comeback here to this track. Now it's time for a mandatory lunch break. There are a bunch of rental karts over there and now I'm going to show you around this place because the facilities here are actually really good. And we are walking my mechanic dog. Shen, come see. Hey. Hello. And I'm also walking my girlfriend. Let's wait until she comes out. One thing that's funny is that she's probably quicker around here than me. And like I told you, she did X30 a few years ago and she actually won the last race that she did here in X30, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, you should totally follow her on Instagram. Here, it's on screen right here. Go follow her. Chingy, come see. Hello. Yeah. Eh? He's such a nice dog. But sometimes he can be a little bit aggressive. Hi. We now have a separate section for rental cars. Yeah, they just take one part of the day for that, and then we have a mandatory lunch break. And the grandstand here is actually really big, and you can see the entire track from here, so that's cool. Beetje zo. Als je gewoon met je hand meegaat, dan kijk, als ik zo doe. Hallo Shane. Hallo. Nou, mooi. Oh. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. When I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight. What a time to be alive. Just you and I. Just you and I. Only you. Fire around. Boom, we're back with some more POV shots. Yeah, I get a lot of questions about which camera I use. I just use my GoPro Hero 8 that I use for the other onboards as well. And I just use a motorcycle helmet mount, which will not stick to your helmet, so you won't ruin your helmet with it. Just tighten some cables and boom, you're done. Anyways, the track is very slippery. You can see on the lap timer that we did a 59.4, which is very slow. So I did notice that I was a little bit slow. So what I did here was actually wait for some faster drivers. I pulled into the pits here to kind of wait because they were on the other side of the track. I waited for them to catch up. Then I went back out on track again to try and follow them. That's actually the best way to improve. You just stick behind some quicker drivers, and the way that you want to do it is just wait for them, have them overtake you at full race speed, because if you let them overtake you whilst you are going slow, it's very difficult to kind of stay with them. So that's why I did here. I waited for the overtaking spot, then I went on the power, and as you can see, we are now right up their bumper. So now we can see where they are quicker, where we are quicker, so we can definitely see where we are a little bit slower and where we are faster. That's just the best way to improve in karting. But as you can see here, absolutely no chance. I was just struggling for grip. Here you can see I got no traction, a little bit of oversteer, and they just bolt away like that. So I was definitely a little bit on the slow side to keep up with them, which is okay. You can see that they pull away massively. Like I said, this track really hasn't been one of my strongest and my favorite over the years. Here you can see a nice off-board shot made by my girlfriend. Yeah, it really doesn't do justice just how quick karting is. But yeah, when you're in the car, it's a completely different feeling. But on a camera shot like that, you don't really see just how quick it is. Anyways, we're a little bit too slow. You can see that we did a 57.9, so we improved by a little bit, but we were still a long way off the pace. So that's why I decided to wait for a driver who was a little bit less quick than the two who just overtook us. And maybe, just maybe, we can improve a little bit more. So here you can see us slowing up again. I'm looking behind me there to see where he is. I point him through there. Then we go on the power set. He overtakes us at full race speed, and we can kind of immediately follow him through, as you can see there. The driver ahead is a driver from JJ Racing, which is the team that we currently use engines from. And one thing I noticed was that we were definitely a little bit quicker in the slower part of the track, as you can see here. Our kart was set up a little bit more for acceleration, and his kart was set up a little bit more for top speed. And whenever you're exiting a fast corner, then you can just see that he bolts away a little bit, but exiting these slow corners, you can see that we can definitely keep up on with him. Here you can see him that he pulls a little bit away, but because we are in the slipstream, we are kind of able to keep up. And these Rotax engines get a huge burst of power at the top of their rev range. As you can see, we kind of close the gap a little bit more in the end of the slipstream, because the last few revs that this engine has are very powerful. But here you can definitely see that in the fast corners, he's a lot quicker than us. You can see him bolting away on the exit there, and definitely in this corner, I struggled with this corner a lot. And you can just see him bolting away there from the middle of the corner. He just, yeah, flies away. But yeah, from about this part of the track, we started gaining back on him. We basically gained back all the time that we lost in those fast corners. Then here, going into the technical bit, you can see there that he also takes a little bit of a different line, but we get a much better exit here because our car's just set up to be more flowing out of slow corners. And you can see that he's definitely struggling a little bit. We are gaining back on him here. You can also see on our lap timer that we're going green by about 700ths. You can see it in the top left hand corner there of the lap timer. So this is going to be a new personal best. Here in this sector we also go green. Now going onto the main straight, you can see that we use some slipstream again, but we are actually going to fast forward a little bit here, because like I said, if you're behind the quicker driver, you can just improve your own driving, and I definitely did just that. I am now quicker than the 388, so now I definitely smelled blood in the air there, but I knew that in these fast parts I just wasn't quick enough to overtake him. So I had to wait for the technical bit to overtake him. Like I said, the right-hand hairpin in which we went off at the beginning of the day is a brilliant overtaking spot, but coming out of these fast corners, I just wasn't close enough to really mount an attack. As you can see, this is very far away. You can go for it if you really have big balls, but I just wasn't able to go for it. But you can see here that he also gets a little bit of a poor exit, so we can actually get him on exit here and go into the chicane and overtake him. So that was actually a really cheeky move, which you will see a lot in races. It's a really unorthodox place to go for a move. You could definitely surprise your enemy, let's just say that, but that's actually a good thing. One thing that's risky about it though, if you have a driver that's a little bit less aware, who doesn't really know what's going on around him, you can cause a crash, because like I said, it's an unorthodox place to go for an overtake. They definitely won't expect you there, so yeah, you need to do it on a little bit of a more experienced driver. And yeah, I think we ended the day on a pretty good note there. Alright guys, yeah, the day's already finished. Only had 5 sessions, but yeah, all in all I actually feel pretty good about today. Yeah, good base just for the BNL, and it's a lot better than when we were here last year, or no, 4 years ago. And with that guys, also comes the end to this video. Now if you enjoyed it, you know what you gotta do. Hit those like and subscribe buttons, you know, you really help me when you do that. Now I have to say, a good day like this was needed, because last race was an absolute disaster. Go check it out, it's on screen right here. This video however is done, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.